Hi, this is Joe again with another movie review. And for the sake of this video, we're going to be discussing the 1961 courtroom drama, Judgment at Nuremberg. Of course, this is the movie that's, of course, based as like a fictionalized version of course, the infamous Nuremberg, the Nazi trials in Nuremberg in 1947. So, of course, if you want to talk about an A-list cast, this movie has an A-list cast. I mean, the only movie they can compare it to that's a courtroom drama like this is maybe A Few Good Men. There's an A-list cast in it. This one has really a top-notch cast. And it has, because the main character, of course, you have Spencer Tracy, Restorer Spencer Tracy, Maximilian Schnell, who won an Academy Award for Best Actor in this film, playing the Nazi defense attorney for the Nazis. You had Judy Garland, you have Montgomery Clift, you have Burt Lancaster, so you kind of have like a reunion of From Here to Eternity in this film with Burt Lancaster and Montgomery Clift. You also had Judy Garland in the supporting, and she was actually nominated for a supporting role. Like I said earlier, Judgment in Nuremberg is based on the Nuremberg Nazi trials, and it is kind of like a courtroom drama version of Schindler's List, and it's really, really hard to watch this film because it is a 3-hour movie. So nowadays, if Judgment in Nuremberg came out today in 2016, critics would probably be complaining, "Oh, it's too long. It's a 3-hour movie. It's too long." To me personally, and I said this in a number of other my other previous videos, I don't give a damn how long a movie is. I don't care if it's an hour and a half or a 3-hour movie or a 4-hour film. If it's a damn good movie, who cares how long it is? If it holds your interest for that long, it's good. But unfortunately, for Judgment in Nuremberg, there are scenes that drags out. I mean, it is padded out to have a 3-hour film, and there are scenes that they should, to me personally, they should just concentrate on the Nazi trials, and maybe go into more of Spencer Tracy's character and how he's having trouble deciding, listening to all this, because Spencer Tracy was one of maybe, I think, about like 4 or 5 judges who was deciding the fate of the Nazis in the Nuremberg trials. So it's really, really hard. I really like to see what his reaction is. That it's very hard for him to sit there and listen to all this stuff, because he wasn't Jewish, or his character's not supposed to be Jewish or any of that stuff. Be interesting if he was Jewish, play that angle. If his character was Jewish, to play up that angle, say, "Hey, look, I'm a Jew," and have the Nazis on trial. And Burt Lancaster played one of the Nazis on trial. Say, anyone no stinking Jew, bring up the anti-Semitism of the Nazis. Say, anyone a Jew deciding my fate. They could have brought. I guess at the time they didn't want to play up that angle, but maybe they should have to drive home the point about how anti-Semitic the Nazis were. And so my hair back here is driving me nuts. I mean, we really drive home that point. I know Spielberg overdid with Schindler's List. I mean, really drove that point home. But if Stanley Kramer, who directed this film, did that in this film, it really would have been terrific to play up that angle, at least for me anyway. But unfortunately, they didn't do it. But I had to backtrack a little bit because I kind of forgot to mention that there's also somebody else who also stars in Judgment in Nuremberg. He had like a real minor part, but 5 years later, he would become very famous on television, playing Captain James T. Kirk in Star Trek, and that's, of course, is William Shatner. And this was like 5 years before Star Trek started, and he was about 30 years. William Shatner, I think, was about like 30 years old, 34. He's about like 30 years old at the time, and of course, obviously, he plays a captain in this movie as well, and it was really funny to see like a pre-Star Trek Captain William Shatner in this thing. And also, I think one at that time he did a couple episodes of the Twilight Zone in between Gentleman Nuremberg and Star Trek. He did a couple episodes of Twilight Zone, which I previously discussed that. Anyway, for Gentleman Nuremberg, I think it's definitely one of the best courtroom drama films you're ever going to see. Like I said, even though it is a 3-hour film, I do recommend, especially people who want to learn about the Holocaust and the Nuremberg trials, because I don't know about actual documentaries, if there are any on YouTube, but to actually see these trials, at least one of the trials depicted in this film. But the point is that the people who were trial on this particular trial is for a sterilization process that the Nazis were doing, and one case in particular had to do with a guy who was a Jewish guy, a Jewish island guy who was fooling around with a German, 16-year-old German girl. So instead of killing him off or bringing the Jew up for statutory rape charges, they decided to sterilize him, and that was with the Nazi sterilization process. And of course, they eventually killed this guy. So that was the subject of this particular trial that was depicted in the Judgment at Nuremberg. Even though they could have picked other cases to depict in Judgment at Nuremberg, they could have picked any one of the cases of any one of the Nazis, with the camps, with the concentration camps. But for some reason, they picked the producers of this film picked this particular case to focus on. For me, they should have picked. They should have picked on another trial with what the Nazis did in the concentration camps. They should have picked one of those. But I don't think that for 1961 audiences, I don't think they really will appreciate that. And to me, if they had picked one of the cases to prosecute the Nazis on for like Auschwitz or Dachau, which is two of the more infamous concentration camps, I feel if they did that, this movie would have won the Best Picture instead of the Oscar for Best Picture instead of West Side Story. Because West Side Story beat out Judgment at Nuremberg for Best Picture for 1961. If it wasn't up against, I'm telling you, if it wasn't up against West Side Story, if it came out like a year earlier, in 1960, it probably would have won for Best Picture. But unfortunately, it was up against West Side Story, and the next year, Lawrence of Arabia came out. So, the 60s, you had really tough movies to pick from for the Best Picture. Like I said, one of the best performances he had, underrated performances, was by Judy Garland. And I believe, I might be wrong, but I think this was her last actual movie role. And she died like 8 years later, 8 years after this movie came out. So, but I think this was her last movie role. And she gave a great performance. And it's kind of like what happened in she lost. She was nominated for Judgment at Nuremberg. Judy Garland was nominated for Best Supporting Actress, and she lost to Rita Moreno for West Side Story. So she was up against Rita Moreno, and she unfortunately lost. I think it's more had to do with the impact of the West Side Story had just as much of an impact as Judgment at Nuremberg. But this is about the Nazis, Nazi trials. They say we don't want to do anything with the Holocaust. If we made 30 years later, like in the 90s, with Spielberg made Schindler's List, that won a lot of the awards. So if they were made like in the 80s or even the 90s, the circumstances might have been different. Unfortunately, like I said earlier, it was up against West Side Story for Best Picture and a lot of the awards, but it only won like 2. It was nominated for 11 Academy Awards. It was nominated for like 2. Or one only 2. Best Actor, which I said previously, for Maximilian Snell, who played the defense attorney, who he defended the Nazis in this role, and he was very, very good. All the performances were terrific. But of course, they do have a disclaimer. I have to point this out. After the trial was over, and Burt Lancaster's character was convicted, at the end of the trial, Spencer Tracy talked to Burt Lancaster in jail, and they had this pretty good scene with the two of them. And of course, Spencer Tracy leaves, and as he's walking away, he's going down the cell block and walking out of the jail. And the disclaimer that all the Nazis were prosecuted and none of them served jail time. According to the disclaimer at the end of the film. That I really don't know, because I haven't done all that much research on the Nuremberg trials, to tell the truth. But if that really happened, this really should be an outrage. All these Nazis did all this stuff, killed at least 6 million Jews in the concentration camps, and they didn't. None of them get convicted of anything, which I don't really believe, because they were Nazis tried for war crimes or crimes against humanity, and some of them were convicted and some of them were hung. At least the head Nazi in Schindler's List was, according to the disclaimer at the end of Schindler's List. But for this film, they did it, at least for Nuremberg trials, and none of them served jail time, which is, anybody with collected brain cells, unless he had to be a full-blown anti-Semitic like Al Sharpton or Louis Farrakhan, they said good, they didn't go to trial for killing Jews. But they should have had. But every single performance in Judgment at Nuremberg is top notch. I mean, unfortunately, a couple of the people who were nominated against each other, like Spencer Tracy and Maximilian Schnell, were running up against each other for Best Actor for a motion picture, and unfortunately, only one could win, and they gave it to Maximilian Schnell, because I think it was younger, new guy on the scene there. So they gave it to him. But also, I think Julie Garland won one, and also maybe Spencer Tracy show got it. And some of the stories that you hear is really heart-wrenching to even watch. I mean, even though they just talking, the things that your imagination kicks in, and it says, "Damn! Imagine if you saw something like that in a motion picture." Well, I know that YouTube, this movie, I don't know if it's still up now, but at one point, Judgment at Nuremberg was up on YouTube. I don't know about now. And the person who posted it, I have to say, I'm glad that the movie is posted on YouTube so people can watch it. But on the other hand, the person who posted the movie should be ashamed of himself or herself, because they put it in a disclaimer or in the description. The guy doing my description where I post my videos. I put a description in there saying what the video is about. The person who posted Judgment in Nuremberg, at least the one version that I saw, says that George W. Bush should be on a tribunal as well for crimes crimes against humanity, like the Nazis were, because of what he did with the Iraq War. Which is, hey, if you post a movie, great. If you're able to post anything on YouTube, it's great. But you don't put on your stupid political bullshit. Your liberal, weenie bullshit on it. Don't do it. At least for me, I try not to put political stuff on my videos, or at least my commentaries. I know I did one last week with the election, as the results of the election, but that's a different topic. But it's a commentary that I did. But at least I try, in my movie reviews, I try to keep my political angles out of it. If you want to go the other way, it shows that Obama should be facing war crimes against whites. Crimes against the white population of the United States. He's against the whites. He's in favor of the white black lives. I could have done all that stuff, by then. And the guy who posted a Judgment at Nuremberg should be embarrassed for even mentioning that President Bush should have gone on the war crimes for Iraq, and for even being the nerve to have being elected. I imagine the same idiot would do something, make a similar comment with Donald Trump in 4 years. But anyway, I know I got on a tangent, but Judgment at Nuremberg is definitely one of the best movies that you could possibly see. And if you want to know about the Nuremberg trials, I suggest you check out documentaries first of the actual trials before you see the movie. At least you get at least hopefully you get the real story before you see the fictionalized version, which the movie was. So that's my review of Judgment at Nuremberg. Please click on the video, please rate it, feel free to comment, please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. You can check out all my videos and all on my YouTube channel at rallyc.com. That's all WDY and LC.com. There's a homepage of the Rally Reviewer, Christy Moore. Please check out all of his content as well as TV Trash videos, which are really great, plus all of his other content on his website as well. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.